program. Last week, Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko proposed a bill that would ban dual citizenship. Under the proposed amendments, Ukrainians would lose their citizenship if they voluntarily obtained citizenship in another country. The document popped up after a landmark case of Ukraine's tax chief Roman Nasirov. He was arrested under the suspicion of abusing power and facing loss of 2 billion hryvnia. So how will the bill affect Ukrainians if made into a law? Joining us in the studio today, Violeta Moskalu, initiator and co-founder of the Global Ukrainians Network. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
My first question would be, of course, that last week President Poroshenko proposed a bill that forbids Ukrainians from having dual citizenships. And the bill has already been widely criticized abroad. Could you comment? What are your feelings towards this bill?
Yes, all Ukrainians living abroad were very surprised and really very sad by this project of bill coming from presidential administration because Ukrainian diaspora is very strong. We think that there are kind of 20 million people living in different countries. And a lot of them got already a second citizenship in different EU countries, Canada, USA, Israel, and so on. So we did like the first analytic work trying to understand how much people could be under the risk of this project 7165, and taking into the account the data we could gather from different public official websites on immigration data, we found that at least 500,000 Ukrainians got already a citizenship of an EU country, Canada, USA, or Israel, and maybe the real number could be two times larger.
These 500,000 Ukrainians who have dual citizenship, doesn't it feel like they're supposed to make a choice at this point? And if they do have to make a choice, is it possible that the choice is going to be not in favor of Ukraine?
It's not in favor psychologically now, because all of them were really very hurt. It was strange to see this project. It's like a kind of blackmail for all of us, because the last 10 or 15 years, a lot of Ukrainians, very highly educated, globally connected, left Ukraine for another country, but they never forgot Ukraine. So after Maidan Revolution, all our Ukrainians living abroad are really very mobilized to help with financial resources, trying to promote Ukrainian interests worldwide. They are like a kind of people ambassadors in different big cities, like in Washington, working for World Bank or IMF, or in Brussels, or in Strasbourg, New York, or working for companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, or being professors at famous universities like Harvard, Stanford, and different others. And all of them are really mobilized. So now it's really very strange to see how Ukrainian government or presidential administration are able to launch a kind of such kind of project without any statistics, without any analytics, and with strange motivations behind.
Has there been any response from the diaspora, or maybe feedback?
all Ukrainian diaspora's organizations, the biggest ones like Ukrainian World Congress, like our Global Ukrainians Network, like Euromaidan Warsaw, like Razom from USAID, like different other Canadian organizations, wrote public letters, did declarations asking for the government, for Ukrainian Parliament to stop this project and to organize kind of national committee in order to discuss different aspects of citizenship problem issues and broader also these organizations put the question of who is able to defend the interests of Ukrainians living abroad in Ukraine and also in Ukrainian Parliament, because we understood that between the different members of Parliament, no one was thinking about the impact and the risks of this project for Ukrainians living abroad.
Not to mention the fact that almost all of the members of Parliament, in fact, have dual citizenship at this moment. Right?
Yes, but you know, a second passport, dual citizenship for Ukrainians living abroad is not a possibility to abuse. It's like more like a kind of identification.
Exactly.
Yes, and if there are some politicians or civil servants in Ukraine that are abusing with a second passport, we need to be very careful and avoid such kind of mistakes, because it's not about the passport. Passport is not the first reason of Ukrainian corrupted politicians. So if they want to take some measures against some dozens of Ukrainian politicians, they don't need to take such kind of measures that could have impact, yes, for millions of Ukrainians living abroad.
Yes, and this brings us to my next question. The bill itself was proposed after the landmark case of the tax chief currently suspended, Roman Nasirov. The prosecutor's office found out that he had, in fact, 3 passports and he was abusing power, and they were suspecting him of making a chance to flee Ukraine. So maybe, and this is just a suggestion, the bill should have sanctions against this kind of politicians. Maybe it should apply only towards the members of parliament and members of government, and let alone the ordinary Ukrainians who have dual citizenship.
Yes, you know, we understand that case of Nasirov is like kind of reasons for such a project, but honestly, maybe it could be better for all of us, for Ukrainians and for Ukraine as a country, if Nasirov could be presented before English or French or another court, because we know that the justice in European countries are less corrupted, and I am sure that if he tries to quit the Ukraine, at least he can go to Russia. But if all our Ukrainian corrupted politicians could finish their life in Russia, it would be much better for Ukraine and for all Ukrainians. So for me, it's not a strong reason for such kind of project. Of course, sure, Ukraine could ask for more transparency on this point. If civil servants or politicians have a second citizenship, it should be public. So the different institutions could check for a potential conflict of interest and stop. It's enough. So we don't need to go further.
All right, so summing up, what could Ukrainian society or maybe Ukrainian organizations do in order for that bill not to be made a law, or maybe being made a law but with some amendments and adjustments made?
We asked for public discussions, so tomorrow the committee of Ukrainian Parliament will organize a round table, and we will see which will be the positions around this table, and then we will take our final decision. Maybe Ukrainian diaspora organizations will present an alternative project for the bill, asking to take into account our positions, our expectations, to recognize that de facto Ukrainians, a lot of Ukrainians have already dual citizenship. It's like going in the same direction with the different global trends, because we studied and we analyzed the experience of different countries, and today most of countries worldwide don't ask for automatic loss of the citizenship in case where a person could obtain a second one. So first position, it's like to clarify the situation and to stop this psychological pressure on Ukrainians on this point. Second point is also focused on the risk of discrimination, because Ukrainians also, Ukrainian politicians speak a lot about avoiding the possibility to be a civil servant with a second passport, and it's anti-constitutional and it's anti-European international practices, no discrimination. And by the way, Ukrainian constitution also has a point that no one could take the citizenship, so it could not be lost in such automatically. And our third point is focused on the need of representatives of Ukrainians living abroad in Ukrainian parliament. For example, in France, there are kind of 2 million French citizens abroad, and they have 11 deputies in French National Assembly and 12 representatives in the French Senate. So maybe it could be a very good opportunity for Ukrainians living abroad to have representatives, so to bring new member of parliament with new values, and it's not possible to buy them with very easily, how sometimes we know that it could be in our Ukrainian reality in Ukraine. So we try to turn this crisis into opportunities in order to clarify these points.
Violeta, thank you so much for such an informative conversation. I hope Ukrainian Parliament hears you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. That was Violeta Moskalu, initiator and co-founder of the Global Ukrainians Network. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.